Hey everyone, welcome to the Wisdom Energy Podcast with me, Fahad, Farook. And this week we have someone super exciting. He's a guy who is constantly pushing the limit, right? So he's the CEO and founder of Arimac Lanka. If you haven't heard of them, you should have because they're crazy, the amount of things they do. So they're a digital technology company. They are primarily disruptors. They're into gaming, virtual reality, augmented reality, mobile solutions, enterprise solutions, artificial intelligence, and even robotics. And with the news of robotics here in Sri Lanka, one of the most craziest things they've done recently is they've launched Sri Lanka's first humanoid robot called Zen. I love the design. It has like this traditional Sri Lankan design. And one of their biggest aspirations is to build a Sri Lankan origin AAA grade video game. So a disruptor and innovator, and today we're going to share some of his insights. Ladies and gentlemen, on this episode of the Wisdom Energy Podcast, we have none other than the amazing disruptor, Mr. Chamira Jayasinghe. Sir, very good morning. Thank you so very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Fahad.
So I'm not going to get into the details of who you are, etc., because that information is already out there. I want to get your wisdom on this aspect of what pushing the limit means to you in terms of the work you do.
So basically, there's a saying that my father used to tell always. So in every day and in every way, we have to get better and better. So that's the core motive or the motto that I'm following every day. So in terms of my personal life also, I'm seeing as to how I can enhance my knowledge, because I'm in the creative and technology field, which is rapidly evolving. So every day I'm thinking as to how I can gain knowledge. And us at Arimac, so since we are in a wide spectrum of services and products, we are always seeing as to how we can compete with global giants and as to how we can bring glory to Sri Lanka. So every day we are learning, understanding the mistakes that we have done, rectifying them and going forward. So that's what we are doing.
I love that, bring glory to Sri Lanka, because the things that we can aspire as a country to bring glory, like we have cricket, and most recently we have tech, like lots of Sri Lankan companies. There are foreign companies working on Sri Lankan companies' platforms. So this bringing glory to Sri Lanka thing, is it like a primary driver, or like what's the scene there?
Absolutely, like as you rightly mentioned, cricket and especially tea. It's something that we had to be really proud of, and then spices and all, and the ancient technologies that we had. So then from the childhood itself, even in the inception of Arimac, we always wanted to inculcate the technologies that our ancient ancestors had, and we are learning from them, and that's how we got motivated. So that's how we are like going
this whole
global.
ancient scene is with Kanchai, the game also, that's also that ancient kind of, so you feel like deeply connected to Sri Lanka's roots. Is that a scene with you?
Absolutely, like if you get part, like our entire Sri Lankan technology, the Sigiriya and all the other ancient places that we have and the technologies that we have had is amazing. So we had to be proud about those things, and we had to learn from our ancestors. So like we are deeply rooted. Even the robot that you mentioned has a lot of features that our West Moon has, like our mask has. So like even like we haven't done that merely for the design purposes, but it has a omni-channel mic array where it reduces the noise. So it for a purpose. Right. So likewise, we are using our ancient technologies, and we are bringing it to the future and the present. That's what we are doing.
So I have to ask you this, right? So Arimac is premier. You agree with that?
We are trying to be every day.
But in terms of like, if someone, let's talk basic like price point, in terms of a person in the local market saying, I need to get a service, let's say an augmented reality service or something, the Arimac price point and somebody else's locally available partner's price point, there will be a difference. But that is because of the step up in your service. Now, if someone was to say to you, we're talking about a market like Sri Lanka, relatively small market, what are you doing trying to do a large margin, high price point product here, when you can get bigger volume with low margins? What's your take on that?
Very good question, Fahad. Like we all are islanders and we have islander mentality as well, like, genetically. But in terms of our pricing, we have been always been used as the offshore company or a third party company or someone's outsourced company. So we didn't want to do that. Actually, we were like in the initial 3-4 years, I would say, we were, and we learned a lot. And then we thought, no, we have to grow bigger, right? And we have to get more good clients. So that's why we thought of going with premium luxury pricing for all the products and services that we offer. And also, like, we made sure that we don't compromise on the quality and the tech that we are using. So for an example, if we get a website that we build, like basically like a normal web company and our company, the price would be, as you rightly mentioned, it would be like 20x higher. But
I'm saying that from experience, by the way, because I got a quote from Arimac. I was like, whoa. But you know the difference in the word.
Absolutely.
Like you can see it, yeah.
Yeah, because we get a website as a digital asset and it's a revenue center. It's not just merely to depict your services or anything like that, but we integrate all our artificial intelligence backends to the conversions, do analytics, big data analytics through a website itself. So that's why we offer a premium package, exclusive package for luxury pricing. And like being like, if you get other countries, they see India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh as third world countries, and they think that we are cheap, but we are not at all cheap. We are like on par with all the big companies in the world, and actually better than them. And we are delivering like exclusive solutions to the global market and even for domestic market. So we don't differentiate our pricing based on the region. It's the same hourly rate or the fixed price project rates that we have. Every client is same to us, so there's no discrimination.
Awesome. So I like to pick on this whole island mentality thing because of course it affects every bloody aspect of our life. Absolutely. Right? From how we look at someone, the way someone dresses, to our cultural perceptions, to how we look at work, to how we look at money, to how we look at future, how we look at politics. All of that is stuck in this island mentality.
Yeah.
And our kids also come up with that mentality, right? Don't think too much. Think small first, etc., etc. And a lot of companies, they don't have that aspirational goal. So if there is some young tech guy who wants to have a startup, etc., etc., because I know your goal is to make Arimac a unicorn by 2028.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, unicorn is a startup that is self-funded, valued at over $1 billion US, 8 years more. And for someone who has such a big goal, the people around, the experts, like start small, etc. Starting small is fine, but that there is a gap, right? This is how far I can go. I can't go beyond that. How did you break that thinking?
Like basically, as you rightly mentioned, we have to think big, right? And also, like from the inception in itself, we really wanted to destroy this cult that we have in terms of the technology and this whole startup thing. Because when we started, if you can't speak and present your product well, you were not accepted, right? So, and also there was a cult or a myth there where you have to have a degree to do engineering.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we really didn't like that. And now if you get Arimac as a whole, we have around 200 engineers, like 200 family members, like including engineers, creative engineers, project managers and all. We are a family. But in that family, we have people who have failed O-levels and who have done their masters at Stanford as well, right?
Wow.
So it's a huge diversified spectrum of talent that we have, but they think alike and they think big, and we don't discriminate anyone with their language skills or their education skills or anything like that.
Yeah.
So always we have one vision where we need to bring Sri Lanka to the next level, innovate, be happy of what we are doing. So if you are not happy or proud of what you are doing, then you think small.
So you mentioned that because I think that if, in order for people to think big, that support system is necessary, right?
Yeah.
Because self-doubt creeps in, and
Yeah.
can I do this creeps in. So initially you said we have 200 engineers, and then you corrected it consciously to say family members,
Yeah.
because that's your perception of this support system.
Yeah.
This support system, like, was it there for you from the beginning, and how important is it to like surround yourself with people like that if you're trying to think big?
Absolutely. Like from this inception itself, we had 5 members, and then steadily and slowly we grew into small family, like pod families, like 20 to 40, and then we have 200 members. So the cohesion within the company and the teams are really important. Even though we have 200 members, I personally make sure that I am attending to everyone's needs and always talk to them.
No way, are you serious?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, so
they've got to appreciate that, right? That's amazing.
Otherwise, without that cohesion and the personal touch, it's very hard to build teams. So like as a founder, I would say I'm just facilitate them an environment where they can rock, right? But they are the actual people who do their work. So in order to help,
But I have a question there. So
Yeah.
somebody else might say that that's a leadership underperformance. Like your there are so many things you can do in terms of your scope, but you're spending time looking into individual needs of what would you say if someone said, "Hey, Chamira, come on, man, that's underperformance."
yeah, I would accept whatever he or she is saying, but this is my vision
Okay.
to build teams. So
Right,
because people are the most important fact, and in a team, and the motivation that they have, the freedom that they have. So if you get digital companies or IT companies, most of them track them, right? So they track the time they come to office, and then they track all like their
Treat them like
activities.
machines, right?
Yes, absolutely. But here we don't mind where they are as long as they deliver their KPIs for weeks. So even though we have a very flexible family kind of an environment, we make sure that we have like proper processes running in order to make sure that they are quantitatively delivering their work as well.
I love that answer, because I asked you that question because that's a standard industry. So I've been a trainer and a consultant for about a decade now, and one of the things that people constantly get is what are the areas that managers or leaders or CEOs are underperforming, and it's always analyzed very mechanically, right? But your response of I accept what they're saying, but this is my philosophy, and that is so pure in the sense because it's genuine. Right, and when an employee or a team member or a family member sees that it's genuine, their buy-in is more than the salary, and that's a sentiment that I really appreciate. That's
Yeah, like I always went with my own philosophies in life. I would say I might be stubborn, but
be. So a little bit about Chamira's philosophy. So this morning, this was supposed to start recording at 8, and then he was like flat out, "No, I'll be there at 9. I'm not a morning person." I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Initially, when we wanted to cater spectrum of services, people who are really educated and have done their MBAs and stuff told me very genuinely, Mali, you should not do this. You have to focus on one thing. But I told them, look, I'm focused on technology and I'm focused on innovations. So the web or AI or robotics, games, AR, VR we do are an abstraction of technology and creativity. So my focus is on that. But we are going into multiple directions. So again, in terms of philosophies, I'm very stubborn, and but I'm more than happy to accept my mistakes. Always I take the responsibility, even if a client's project goes, as a flop, we accept it and we fix it. So we never decline our mistakes. So I think it's a live and learn game. In life, you have to always, test the waters and see as to how it works, and then if it works well, you have to go, or else you have to pivot. So it's the,
It's the name of the game.
It's life.
So I have a question on this thing about, I'm going to pick on your stubbornness.
No problem.
Because by nature you're a disruptor. Arimac is a disruptive company. A disruptor is a person who is like, yeah, no, not this, let's look at an alternate, no, not this, so a disruptor is constantly evolving, constantly changing. But personally, you're stubborn. So is there like a line somewhere in the middle?
There's no line.
So is personally stubborn, professionally disruptive?
Like professionally also, I'm stubborn. Like if you get a robot, so we have been working that for the 3 years, and I have my awesome investors as well. So they are like, I'm very blessed in my life. I met a lot of great people who believed in me, who believes in me. So I think it's a blessing for me. So like if you are not stubborn, you can't build extremely risky projects, right? So we are still making games without making any money, right? So it's been 8 years, but I know someday we will do that. Pragmatic, I'm telling. So if we are to go to a $1 billion goal, we have to pick our like paths properly, because like if we are to do web and mobile service project, we will stop at some point, because like that's about scaling. Like if you get big companies in India, they need 300,000 engineers to get their revenue. But robotics, AI and gaming are the fields that you can get a lot of revenue with small teams. So that's the philosophy. Like basically like I'm stubborn on those decisions, but that stubbornness is been abstracted or modulated with pragmatism and a lot of analytics as well.
The machine is a little modified here and there.
Absolutely. Because like you have to have a goal.
Right.
I'm stubbornness comes in different ways, right?
Right.
So it can be like nasty stubborn or pragmatically stubborn,
Yeah.
you know, like.
So it's a calculated stubborn.
Absolutely.
Right. That is quite interesting, because when we hear the word stubborn, we just associate it with, I'm not going to change, this is my way.
Yeah.
But this stubbornness is more in line of, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And let's see what necessary things we have to do in order to get there.
Absolutely.
So something I want to ask you is that when I went through all this scope of work, right, it's very horizontally spread out. And I was wondering, do you guys do that to hedge, or do you guys do that because it's like various areas of interest, or do you guys do that because it's the natural flow of ways things to go, instead of being like laser focused in one specific area? What's the scene with that?
Because as I told Fahad, like basically like if we are to like grow exponentially, we have to seek new technologies and try to adapt them to the suite of services that we deliver. So we started with web and mobile, and it's a very standard, it's a red ocean at the moment. So like even in that red ocean, we did few paradigm shifts, and that's how we now deliver very exclusive mobile application and web, which are extremely pricey. So but still we are on that area, like for do that web, like to deliver that web services, we had to integrate artificial intelligence. So we built a team over 4-5 years. We have one of the strongest AI team in South Asia for this work. So we like basically, if we are to deliver a quality service, we have to integrate multiple service areas. So there's another service area that we introduced 2 years back. It's design anthropology. So design anthropology, I think there are like more than like, I don't think there are around 10 companies in the world who does proper design anthropology. So we learned it. We have people from Stanford, Idaho, who has done the studies on that. So we are offering that. So our websites or mobile application will be back from those anthropology studies as well. So the experience that our users get by using our applications will be like intuitive and robust. So that's how we add multiple verticals to our complete suite of services.
So what I'm gathering from this entire thing is that there is a sense of calculated approach, because the overall thing is this growth mindset, right?
Absolutely.
We want to grow into this type of company. We want to grow into this state, because if you take a lot of companies that innovate, they innovate for the sake. What's the new thing we can do? But what are you tethering it to is a big question that they don't even think about answering, right? Is this a new thing we can do? Let's just do it.
Yeah.
And when there's resistance, hey, you don't like innovation and stuff like that. But there are two mindsets in the gift and the growth mindset.
Yeah.
So the gift mindset is these are my benefits, these are the things I have, and this is how far I can go,
Yeah.
which is part of the island mentality. From our smaller days, well, I know this person can do maths, this person can't, this person can public speaking, this person can't, right?
Yeah.
But in the growth mindset, one of the things that I'm understanding is that it has to be tethered to the path that you're trying to push towards. So becoming a unicorn, bringing glory to Sri Lanka, growing the broad range of products, everything is stubbornly calculated towards that. What if there's a team member who's like, I'm not buying into this? Like, wouldn't they get hired in the first place, or would they naturally
No. I love the people who argues with me. It's
Okay.
very important. So if a team member comes and tell, okay, I'm agreeing to you, it's a problem for me, because everyone should have a different perspective and a perception of our group strategy. So I love people like that, and we always have brainstorming sessions and arguments and all that, which I love, because that's how we can learn. But still, we have to have a kind of a framework where we work on. So always we have brainstorm sessions, and we use a lot of agile practices as well. So we have daily meetups and all that, Scrum, very small meetings, because personally I don't believe the meetings are productive. Meetings are toxic, right? So that's
I think everybody in the corporate world will agree with you 3000%.
That's why, like, so basically I love the people who are not agreeing to our overall vision, who would add more value to that. So it's it's good when someone argues.
When's the last time you got complacent?
Probably yesterday.
So the disruptor gets complacent.
Yeah, like it's normal, and you have to accept it, and then you have to see as to how you can get into your path and do it.
So what's the mentality there? Like, is it post-mortem complacency, like I became complacent, or is it concurrent, like I am currently complacent, or is it that I know it's like, because complacence is a problem for a lot of companies, because fatigue sets in and you're tired and you're mentally tired and the people around you, and we can't vibrate at that frequency for a long time, right?
Yeah.
So then it becomes a habit, wind down. It's like the cheat meal becomes a cheat weekend, and a cheat weekend suddenly you're 3 kilos over type of thing, right? So what's your approach to it?
Yeah, basically, like you're coming to right path. I mean, like a lot of people nowadays, especially Gen Z, because I'm like dealing with all the age spectrum and all the XYZs and all. Especially Gen Zs, they are more proactive and active, and they're ambitious. So always they are like getting frustrated, and whenever there's a new project or a kind of a tedious task to be executed, they always get fatigue and stuff. But what we are like giving them as advisors is they have to love what they are doing, or else they have to see as to what exactly the path they should go on, right? And also, if they're tired, they have to rest also. Some Gen Z especially, they quit quickly. So it's not good. So like we have our own set of difficulties in life, and whenever you have come across this kind of incident, you have to see as to what the path you have to take. Because at Arimac, if you don't like designing, you have technology, or you have multiple things to do. So if we get our entire service spectrum, we have 5 service spectrums. So like underneath all those spectrums also, you have sub spectrums that you can work on. So there are a lot of things that you could do. So if you don't like one avenue, you can always have options to choose other avenues as well. And also we always encourage them to work within Sri Lanka, not especially at Arimac, but they can choose other companies as well, for sure.
Do you think people who spend like about 5-6 years as a company, if they don't move up, do you think they should move out?
That's their problem, I think. Like if we have people who are with us more than 8 years, 9 years, also from the inception as well, and they are doing fairly well in their life. But like if you get a corporate company, I know a lot of big companies, they have this issue, but I think they have to change their like attitude on that. So they have to analyze as to why they are the same place and not growing within the same company. So if that person loves the company, he or she needs to see as to how she can bring value to the company and bring value to themselves and grow. I think like it's their personal decision, but for me, I would see as to what I can do more to that company and grow with that company. So if you get Arimac, basically when we started, even I personally didn't have a vehicle, but I'm very happy to say out of 200 members that we have, 70 plus have their own vehicles and their places and all that. So we are one of the highest paying company in Sri Lanka. We always analyze as to how we can give more to our members to make sure that they stay in Sri Lanka, because the biggest problem for brain drain in Sri Lanka is they are not paying well, and they don't have a proper workspace, freedom to work on. So all the engineers and creative wizards are very stubborn, extremely stubborn. So because they think logically, and like engineers, they think from their left brain. Creative people, they think from their right brain. So we at Arimac have people who think from both sides, and we have to give them the right platform. Otherwise, they go to other countries, to get higher pays and to have a better life. But we are always telling them Sri Lanka is the best country for you to live, and together we have to bring this country to the next level. So yeah.
So the sentiment keeps coming through in every sort of question I ask you, because it's clear, it's genuine, right? Grow together, family, glory to the country, and that sentiment is very clear, because it's a value-based thing. Yeah. It's not a nice to hear thing. It's a value-based thing, because usually it's easy to say these things, right? For example, people are biggest assets, etc. Those are just jaded things that people say, but if you dig into the decisions, like you dig down at each status, when you see with each challenge, how did this decision come through? That's when the value is sort of checked and tested. I have this question that I want to ask you in terms of if somebody tells you, like say for example, let's take DSN, right? Why? We Sri Lankan companies can do without it.
Yeah.
Can they?
In the sense?
Like they don't need DSN. Like that's the same thing that it does.
Yeah, now. So like basically Arimac, we think 5-10 years ahead. Otherwise, it's very hard for us to survive in the market. Like we always love to be in blue ocean, because then our solution is exclusive. We can charge premium. Like we have to think from business angle as well. So like why we started robotics, humanoid robotics 3 years back is according to the stats and the data that we have gathered, in next 3 to 5 years, humanoid robotics will come to the picture in a massive way, and already West Coast companies, Japanese, Chinese companies are building robots. So initially what we did was we brought down few Chinese robots, and we reverse engineered them as to how they have done that, because there's no books as to to read as to how we can build human robots. So that's how we started. So to answer your question is why we started this humanoid robotics company or DSN as a product, like a very exclusive project for us, is because there will be a massive demand in the market. So already we have sold 7 DSNs units so far.
Nice.
So we have started marketing campaigns, I would say a month back, and we have 7 orders for 7 units. So I think this will grow rapidly, and also we are in the process of patenting our technology. There will be around, we haven't filed anything yet, so we are checking the legal clearances and technical clearances for that. So we are planning around 8 patents, so that those will be global patents, and I think DSN will help us to go to our pragmatic dream, I would say. I'm using this word pragmatic a lot because I don't like being ambitious, but being ambitious is very good, but there should be
blind sometimes.
Yeah, so there should be a science. So DSN will help us to.
Question with DSN: only white? Any other colors?
No, there will be multiple colors based on clients' requirement. We can. That's the beauty of DSN. So if we get other Chinese robots, it's extremely hard for them to change the structure. So that's why we took 3 years to do our own research. we reverse engineers more than 4 or 5 different robots in the world, and there's a robot that we are like extremely inspired. So it's called Boston Dynamics.
Of course.
So in the US. So
the other people, they have the dogs and everything, like scary. Like the Terminator level, going to take over the world, machines they're making.
So that's the level that we need to take Sri Lankan robotics industry. So I think, like if I may say, like to branch out my answer in a different way. So gaming. So we started gaming in 2012, to be honest, but we didn't make any money. But we still kept going, and then we understood that we don't have the design, like game level design knowledge in Sri Lanka. It was very hard to get, and it's a tacit knowledge. So you can't read that and get it. So we did a few researches, and then we met this guy called Andrew. He's a German who has worked at Ubisoft for 25 years. So then we invited him to come to Sri Lanka, and I told him, look, this is a tropical island and I can give you the best life ever you can have. So like he has been working with us for the last 2 years in Sri Lanka with my team, and we like took our engineering and creative gaming engineering to a next level now. So the new title that we are releasing, and we are very certain, touch wood, we're gonna make good revenue, because like it will be a global distribution that we are trying to do. And the game quality with the Kanchai in 2017 and 2020, the game level is like 50x better. Whoa. And the optimization is 50x better. And I'm not saying we are on par with all the AAA games in the world, but we are on par with the AAA games that's been published in 2016, I would say. So I think we are exponentially growing ourselves. I think in next 2-3 years, Sri Lanka can expect AAA games from Sri Lanka itself. Likewise, we always think ahead, learn from what we don't know, and we are growing ourselves steadily and slowly.
Excellent. So we're gonna have one more question, but before that, just to let you know that we're recording here at the Move and Pick in Colombo at the beautiful Robotic restaurant. So if you want to have your business meetings, they have a private dining room. It's pretty cozy for any type of thing you want to have. It's a lovely place. Also, the Wisdom Energy podcast. If you're watching us, great. If you're listening to us, great. You should check out the watching part too. The podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Podcasts, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So you can just head over to fahadfarook.com/podcast, and you can have all the information there. And with that, we're going to ask Chamira one last question.
Sure.
And that is, young Sri Lankan kid is thinking, I want to be something big, whichever it is. Then this kid hears from the people around them, the natural environment, no but. What were you used to hearing? Can't make money in that. No, this is better, etc. And then slowly that aspirational goal starts to dim, and they come into the track, the rat race. They come into the standard mold. Few people are lucky enough to internally break away from them. No, this is what I want, type of thing. But majority is not. And with that island mentality, a lot of massive dreams never get realized. For that kid who might be listening, who's thinking, I want, but what's your message from the heart?
Believe in yourself. That's it.
That's enough.
That's enough.
Regardless of what anybody else says.
Believe in yourself.
All right. And with that note of believing in yourself, this episode of the Wisdom Energy podcast comes to an end. Thank you so very much for listening. If you have any questions, by all means, you can get in touch. And I'm sure Chamira, if he has time, he will respond because it's in his nature. Taking Sri Lanka, taking Sri Lankan companies and Sri Lankan identity to the world, definitely, pragmatically, they will build a AAA grade game from Sri Lanka. And of course, there's no doubt that the company will become a unicorn. Chamira, thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Your time, your effort, your insights, and mostly your wisdom. Thank you for sharing with us and everybody else.
Thank you for the opportunity.
No problem. And we will see you with the next episode. See ya.